Monthly partner in brief of ongoing progress work on the shutdown of Lagos infrastructure and
bring all the traffic into this direction.
we are going to work to ensure that it is better during the day and traffic. If we don't do what we need to do now, the road will collapse.
Good day and welcome to another interesting episode of your program, Infrastructure Weekly, where we x-ray the effort of the Buhari administration in bridging the nation's infrastructure deficit. On this week's edition, we will be taking you around the country and the various project sites, from roads to power and to housing. I am Abosade Omowi. We'll be back after this break. Stay tuned.
Coming together of opportunities. This is what
Infrastructure is the backbone of development, which explains the Buhari government's effort at bridging the facility gap. Infrastructure Weekly is a television package designed to bring you latest information on hundreds of development projects going on in various sectors all over the nation.
there is no state in Nigeria today where you will not see our contractors busy at work.
Power generation, rural electrification, road rehabilitations, national housing scheme, construction of roads and rail lines across the country, you name it.
We are now able to produce 7,000 megawatt of power. That is no longer debatable.
Infrastructure Weekly is Nigerians working together for a better Nigeria. So be better informed to take better informed decisions. Watch Infrastructure Weekly, showing on Channels Television Thursdays 2:30 p.m., NTA Network Wednesdays 5 p.m., and QTD News Fridays at 8 p.m. Infrastructure Weekly, making development known.
We take off today from the road sector, and specifically in Kano, where the federal government has again reiterated its commitment to the expansion of the nation's infrastructure and rehabilitation of major highways across the country. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, disclosed this while flagging off the Abuja-Kaduna-Zaria-Kano Road in Kano. He said the federal government will continue to work towards bridging the infrastructure gap to bring Nigerians closer together and expand the frontier of interstate business and commerce.
We gather today to flag off the commencement of work on one of the most important road transport routes. That is the action point of that economic recovery and growth plan.
Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, assures of uninterrupted funding of the Abuja-Kano Road project, emphasizing that there would be no reason to stop work on the project, as President Muhammadu Buhari's administration has put in place adequate strategies until its full completion.
Change means finding solutions to problems that have lingered up for over a decade. From today, as work is going on from Lagos to Ibadan to connect the southwest to the north central through Ilorin to Jeba and beyond. And work is already also going on the second Niger Bridge to connect the southeast from Anambra to the south-south in Asaba. The people of the north central from the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja can be assured that they will be connected to the social, cultural, and economic opportunities that exist in Kaduna, Zaria, and Kano in the northwest. So if people still ask you what change means, please tell them that it means the connection of our people through road transportation from north to south and east to west to deliver prosperity.
Vehicular traffic on the road has increased significantly since it was opened in the early 1990s. Hence, the need to reconstruct the entire stretch of the Abuja-Kaduna-Zaria-Kano Road.
We have a funding provision for this critical infrastructure, and we will make sure that it is delivered on time. You can see from the selection of the contractor, from the time it takes for us to prepare to this day that we are going to flag off this project, you can be sure that we are prepared to deliver on this all-important road.
The massive infrastructural development embarked upon by the administration which cuts across the 6 geopolitical zones of this country, is aimed at providing the much needed impetus to stimulate the economy and improve the lives of the citizens of this country.
Stakeholders appreciate the federal government, saying this act will contribute to a large extent to the nation's economy.
The strong commercial links between Kano and Zaria and Kaduna and Abuja have been adversely affected by this bad road. So it is clear that this is a road that needs to be repaired. It's also clear that this act will contribute in no small measure to the welfare of the people, and we would like to express our appreciation to the federal government for doing this. We look forward to the speedy completion of the work.
More of it more is the President Muhammadu Buhari for his concern, for his care, and the promise he made, and he has not fulfilled that promise. Mr. Buhari, we thank you very much. Come again, 2019, we vote for you, President Muhammadu Buhari.
Representative of the construction company notes that the major aspect of the work is the scarification of the existing asphaltic concrete on carriageway, bituminous surface on shoulders, and the compaction of the existing bays, as well as reformation of the road shoulders.
My message to the motorists is, please bear with us. Unfortunately, a road cannot be built through a helicopter. That means we have equipment on ground, we have trucks, we have excavators. We try to have a very professional traffic management, but we just appeal that everybody is cooperating.
The project, which had been approved by the Federal Executive Council and awarded in December 2017 to Julius Berger Nigeria PLC at a contract sum of 155.4 billion naira, has a completion period of 36 months.
If you were just joining us, the program is Infrastructure Weekly. For comments, feedback, and inquiries, you can get in touch with us on Facebook at facebook.com/Infrastructure Weekly and on Twitter at Infra_Weekly. The federal government has again reiterated its determination to use infrastructure projects as a platform for the empowerment of all Nigerians and to spread economic prosperity and development around the nation. Minister of Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama, and the Minister of State for Power, Works and Housing, Mustafa Babashiauri, spoke on this in Abuja at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting. Let's take a listen.
In Kwara State and Niger State. And there's also a bridge that was, I think, that collapsed or washed away, just I think, on the 9th of June this year. The contract was awarded to CGC, Construction Nigeria Limited, at the cost of 130 billion. The contract is in two sessions. Session 1 is from Ilorin to Jeba. Session 2 is from Jeba to Mokwa, and the contract lifespan is 36 months.
Reporting on history. There are reports that are leading indicators, which means they're forward-looking, and of course there are reports that generally capture like what you do, which is current, which is why the fourth estate is so important, because you're actually dealing with information that is current. So when you get reports from Brookings Institute, all these sort of people, you need to look at the context. I mean, somebody may have written a report when we're in recession. Remember that if you're in recession, what it means is that even though your population is growing, people don't stop procreating because there's recession. Your growth is flat, which means that in theory, depending on how they run those numbers, you appear to, you'll be going the other way. There is absolutely no question that there is an urgency to create employment in Nigeria, and it has to be a collective responsibility. What I can tell you with certainty, based on one's background in business and in economics, is that if you complete the things we're doing on infrastructure and you implement these reports we're doing, that's what I mean by a leading indicator. Poverty will go down. There's no magic to it. But you have to do it first. You have to put in the infrastructure. You have to implement the economic program, which is what will create the opportunities. They don't drop from the sky. So I think we should roll up our sleeves as a people and do the work. Because if we don't do it, and our people continue to bear children, obviously they'll get poorer. So I don't think we should kid ourselves that poverty is something that just happens. I think it comes out of the need, the urgent need we have as a country, which is why we are focusing it as a government to make sure that we create the enabling environment, the infrastructure, and the things that are required to create opportunities for our people. And I believe that that will definitely happen in the process of time.
Now to the power sector. The federal government has continued the expansion of the national grid with the commissioning of the 60, 100 and 3233 kVA transformer in Ijebu-Ode, with the promise by the managing director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria that more of the power transmission projects will come on stream in the next few weeks.
The commissioning of the 60 MVA 132-133 kVA transmission substation in Ijebu-Ode, according to the Transmission Company of Nigeria, is part of efforts aimed at expanding the national grid to get it to the required level. Managing Director of the TCN, Usman Gul Mohammed, said the company will continue to work to achieve the mandate given to it as the only leg of the power value chain still under direct government control. He added that this will ensure that transmission is commensurate with both generation and distribution at all times, if not ahead.
We are looking at two options, sir. One, we are looking at the possibility of reconstructing the line from Shagamu to this place. The second option we are looking at is dropping a 330 kV substation here. So whichever is cheaper, we are going to do it. We are going to do it. Whichever of them is cheaper. If dropping the 330 kV substation here is the cheapest, we are going to do it.
The Ogun State Governor, Ibikunle Amosun, who was represented by his Chief of Staff, Tolu Odebi, said the substation's commissioning will ensure that Ijebu-Ode have access to more power and also ensure that it is insulated from any fault, different from what obtained in the past. He added that this will also ensure that the Ijebu axis of the state, which is an industrial area, gets the much needed boost to the local economy and creates employment for the people.
Well, you're going to what you can expect is economic transformation. I mean, that's what having power does. I mean, now, once there's stability in power, you can see transformation in the economy. You can see the small and medium-scale enterprise continue to thrive. People can now, because the cost of operation is what kills businesses. Now, when that is out of the way, now you can see people start, putting up businesses. The small and small-scale industries will continue to thrive, and it just helps the whole economy. Not only that, it creates jobs, because when there are businesses, then jobs are also created. So it's a total transformation. And the whole value chain will feel the effect of it.
For his part, the Awujale of Ijebu land, Sikiru Kayode Adetono, who was represented by the head of the Oloritons in the town, commended the federal government for the project.
The new management of TCN have really done a lot to ensure that we have power in Ijebu land. And poverty can only be reduced by NEPA, because when electricians and all those people using electricity to produce their job have power, then poverty is being reduced and it's being managed.
The locals, however, celebrated the commissioning, which has been long in coming in their own unique way.
Still on the power sector and on the national grid, the commissioning of the projects for the expansion of the grid continues as the commissioning of projects is now being done at a fast pace to reach the 20,000 megawatts target of the federal government within the next 3 years.
Electricity supply will stabilize as energy transmission will be constant and high tension lines become busy, because Transmission Company of Nigeria, in line with the federal government's policy of incremental power, is boosting capacity of transmission facilities. The various expansions and upgrading of power substations will lead to more energy being transferred, as the installation of mega transformers is to build and provide more redundant facilities that will enhance quick switchover of transmission in order to address power outage.
The transformer capacity as inception was probably very, very small. The city has grown to come and dominate the capacity. Many more houses have been built, many more families have settled in this neighborhood, and therefore over the years the population has exceeded the transformer capacity, and for many years we haven't invested as a nation in addressing that gap. This is one of the things that the Buhari government is committed to doing, and this is what it has done through agencies like TCN and the NDPHC.
This present administration, through its Ministry of Power, is ensuring standards so that communities can have 60 MVA in 2 places. In case there is any fault with the first 60 MVA, they would immediately switch to the second one while rectifying the fault. The objective is to move towards a stable and reliable power supply. As a result, the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing constantly commissions new transformers from 120 kVA to 330 kVA installations, among others.
There will be many more of this completion, energizing and connection of substation, injection stations and so on in the course of this year and next year.
After 3 years, that what he has promised is being fulfilled. This means in the second term, by God's grace, would be like Dubai, where there will be light throughout the day and night.
The boosting of transmission capacities is the case in Kakuri and other Kaduna power substations, when the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, commissioned 2 transformers. These installations also include a new 330 kV substation in Millennium City, 132 kV substation in Rigasa, another 132 kV substation in Jaji, and 330 kV substation in Zaria.
Today, we are commissioning yet another 2x60 MVA additional capacity of the powerhouse that fits Kakuri, which is the heart of industry of Kaduna, heart of industries of Kaduna and environment. We successfully completed the reconducting of the Kaduna powerhouse to Mando 132 kV line and successfully increased the capacity from 80 megawatt to 240 megawatt. It will enable Kaduna Disco better serve its customers in areas like in the city itself, in Kaduna City, in Rigasa, in Kakuri, in Banawa, in Sabon Tasha, Tudunwada, Unguarimi, Kawu, Rigashuku, Chikun, and other places.
Nigeria has a generation transmission capacity of 7,000 megawatts and is expanding, because when the present administration came in, distribution capacity was not more than 3,500 megawatts, but it is now over 5,000 megawatts. However, there are various challenges with distribution that the federal government, led by President Muhammadu Buhari, is continuously addressing.
Help is on the way. We are solving these problems one after the other. It is going to take a lot of effort to deal with it. We are dealing with backlogs of what should have been done 15, 20 years ago. You have heard from the MD, we are recovering equipment that were abandoned in our own port over 15 years ago, over 800 containers. And that happened because nobody paid the shippers, nobody budgeted for them, and we left the equipment, bought with taxpayers' money, in the port to rot away. And those equipment were necessary to complete this kind of work. Now we have recovered over 640, and work is still continuing to ensure that we recover all of them and deploy them.
All the companies that run to Ghana and other African countries will soon prefer to do business in Nigeria, as power supply in the nation will be cheaper than most countries, serving as an incentive that will attract investors.
You can get in touch with us on any of the social media handles showing on the screen for inquiries, feedback, and comments. Join us after this break for more on the housing sector.
London, New York or Lagos, business or holiday, home or office. You can now carry out your tax transactions from anywhere in the world. You can now file all your tax returns, pay online, get a receipt and even process your tax clearance certificate from anywhere in the world online and in real time. All you need to do is log on to www.firs.gov.ng and click on e-services and be introduced to the world of innovation, convenience and transparency from the FIRS. You can also pay stamp duty as you register a new company with the CAC or for other transactions that require stamp duty payment online. You can also file your withholding tax returns and determine the withholding tax deducted from you is in government coffers so that you can get your receipt within 45 days as long as the deduction has been remitted. Yes, all of this and more online at www.firs.gov.ng/e-services. FIRS, making tax administration as easy as ABC. Please note that all FIRS services are free of charge. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service. It pays to pay your tax.
As stated from the inception of the National Housing Program by the federal government through the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, the major objective of the program is not only to provide houses to bridge the millions of housing units yearly deficits in the sector, but also a deliberately planned effort to reflate the economy. This, according to the minister, is by employing artisans, youth and contractors from the locality where projects are cited to develop the local economy. This objective is obvious from reports by the host communities in the 34 states where the projects are currently going on. Let's take a listen to this report on the program.
Much work to reduce value subtraction for Nigeria at a time when there is much work to be done and the nation's oil revenue is low. However, sustainable jobs mostly come from industry and massive public infrastructural development, which includes houses and road constructions. In 2015, when President Muhammadu Buhari-led federal government assumed office, it recognized an urgent need for a bipartisan employment drive in the country through its Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. The federal government's 2016 National Housing Program is bridging the unemployment gap as it is generating over 64,000 jobs across the nation. Apart from addressing housing deficits in the country by injecting over 2,000 housing units, the present administration has succeeded reducing the nation's unemployment rate, especially for youths.
A lot of people have benefited. You know, when we came here, we started from even clearing the site. Some people came and they cleared the site, helped with the setting out, and in fact a lot of people have benefited, the professionals, the engineers, architects, because the contractors came with their team, and it's making a lot of impact.
It is a good thing that I have this opportunity to do something for the federal government, and I'm also happy that this thing is awarded to my company, and I also promise to work to their schedule.
The people along the supply chain has benefited so much. Up to 25 people have benefited, the drivers, the offloaders. And I remember a testimony of one of the men that said that this really helped him because the son got admission, and if not for this work, he wouldn't have known how to pay for the school fees. So I believe it has impacted so much. And we urge that the government will embark on more of this project.
We are very happy because most of us have benefited from this project. Just like me, I've gotten a piece of land from here. And most of my colleagues also, the furniture man is here. In short, we are happy.
I thank God for life because I was not be able to afford my education, so I'll be able to learn the work, and I appreciate very well and what God is doing for me from the work. So I'm enjoying the work. So I'm benefit from maybe most of some people. I believe that my made that they're able to finish their school, they have not be able to have work, so we have to go and learn work. So I appreciate very well. I'm enjoying the furniture work. I'm getting what I'm finding.
Apart from addressing the country's housing needs, the 2016 National Housing Program has created over 64,000 job opportunities for our people across the country, and more jobs will be created when the second phase starts. Indigenes of many states have benefited from the program through direct and indirect employment opportunities.
Since we have been working, we employ so many people, and then the atmosphere is good. We are enjoying the work. Since we started last year, we've employed more than 3,000 people from DPC to date.
About 3,000 people, skilled and unskilled labor.
Nigeria's housing deficit has been estimated to be 17 million units, and with an increase of 900,000 annually. Some of the reasons home buyers are clear. Interest rates are high for both developers and home buyers, and the tenor of debt remains too short. As contractors, artisans and suppliers in all 34 states where the program is currently on await the commencement of the second phase, the President Muhammadu Buhari administration is working to make the houses affordable for Nigerians.
That's all for this week's edition of the program. Let's continue the conversation on social media. On Facebook, it's at facebook.com/Infrastructure Weekly, and on Twitter at Infra_Weekly. Be a good citizen by protecting public utilities around you. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back next week. I am Abosade Omowi. Bye for now.